Hi, welcome. We are going to talk about mending our hearts today. So I'll wait for people to jump on, and as I wait, I'm going to talk about my little brother. My little brother just had, hey, Jennifer Faye, glad you're here. All hearts. Aloha with a heart. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I just was going to talk about my little brother a little bit before, while I wait for people to jump on. So I sent out Facebook that in this week's email too. I talk about my little brother who had open heart surgery. He actually had to have his mitral valve replaced. Hey, Birdie Beer. No, Beth Evans. Hey, Beth Evans. Anyway, because he like ripped out his mitral valve. And so he had to have like full on open heart surgery. And it just like, makes me just like have the chills to even think about that happening. But, and the pain that he's in. But he's okay, which is really great. And they were able to fix it, and everything's really good. And now it's just recovery, which is like 6 months. But it just got me thinking about broken hearts. And I've heard many times, in order to let love in, we have to have our heart broken open, right? And so literally, like, my brother had his heart broken open. And physically. And there's much better ways to do that. And so that's why I'm doing this week's practice, is to get us to open our hearts before we need something drastic like open heart surgery, right? And actually, like, heart issues run in my family. So heart disease runs in my family. So I'm not surprised that my brother had a heart issue, and I've got a sternum heart chest defect called pigeon chest. My chest is formed like this instead of like this. And I had a nephew who had to have his chest broken open to fix that. So this is very near and dear to me, this subject, and I struggle with it constantly, like keeping my heart open, because it's really difficult for me because of the way that my chest is shaped. I want to come over it. I want to actually have kyphosis. My back wants to round in the back. So I constantly work on it. And this week's practice, I'm giving you how I keep my heart open. Even with all the family history and the birth defect that I have, I'm able to do it. So I want to encourage all of you to do it, because yes, it can be a struggle for us to keep our hearts open, especially when we've inherited stuff in our DNA. But it's ours. Like, once we inherit it from our DNA, it's ours to take a hold of. It's ours to mend. I'm here to mend my broken heart, even though some of it is just what I inherited. So we're going to talk about that today. So let me know if there's anything. Aloha, Michelle, Beth Evans says. So glad you two are with me. And maybe it's just the two of you today, but that's what we needed, right? So if you have any questions about broken hearts and how to fix them, just ask. I will answer. But I'm going to show you a couple of things that I do on a regular basis to keep my heart open. Now, if I didn't do these things, I would be kyphotic. My grandmother was way hunched over because she had pigeon chest as well. And she had heart disease, and she had open heart surgery. So, oftentimes we're working against all that DNA. Hey, Karen Anderson, yay, happy that you're here. So we're often, working against DNA, and it's hard when we have DNA things come up because it's like, well, it's not actually active in our lives. We didn't actually create that situation. But DNA is a memory, like it relies on memory. And so the physical body operates off of an energy vibration from your ancestors. And once it's in us, again, it's ours to cure. So my obvious favorite way to open my heart, to mend my heart, is my noodle ball. So you can get yours if you want to, because we're going to do it. But I do this all the time in the practices, right? So if you're doing my practices, you know the noodle ball. So you just get it out and bring it into your heart space and bring your arms overhead and just roll around. I roll a lot. I roll to the side. I breathe. I lift my bottom. And sometimes I just sit here and breathe in and out of my heart. But I'm oftentimes just trying to work out those knots of tension because I carry, especially on my left side, because my chest is caved a little bit, and on my left side more than my right, I really get a lot of tension in that left side of my heart. And then you have tension in your heart space wherever you have it. So I do like to just relax over. But I also like to move around and dig into those knots. Dig into those knots of tension. So it always feels so good to do that. But if I didn't do that every day, I wouldn't be able to stand up straight yet. I can feel it, and I can feel how the programming of my body and the way that my chest is shaped wants to collapse. But we can do this to ourselves too. Like when I spend too much time on the computer or caretaking others or get some bad news or whatever, then I start to get tight in the heart as well. Jennifer Faye, sometimes I need to rest my head on a yoga block while doing this with the noodle ball. I know, because I feel my neck strain if I have my head on the floor, not every time, but sometimes. Is that okay or something better? No, that's perfectly fine. Great remedy. So here's why that happens. Especially, Jennifer, you may have been like doing a lot of painting or something. Let me just go over here. And when our hearts are kind of tight in the back, so I can make mine look tight because I have this thing I'm fighting all the time. Then when I come down, I can't get my head to the floor. I have to be able to release all the way down for my head to be comfortable. And oftentimes when we're really tight, we can't do that. So propping up with anything, I'll just grab my ball, anything behind the neck when you're on the noodle is perfectly fine. It just means that you were probably working too hard the day before or that day that you went over the noodle. It's just you were extra hunched over. And then that puts strain in your neck. Awesome. So hopefully that helped you, Jennifer. Now I'm going to show you the other thing that I absolutely love to do to help open my heart and release my heart wings. And I call my arms, my shoulders, my arms, my hands, my heart wings, because when they're open, they're free. When they're tight, they're all locked up. And that's what this week's practice is all about, is opening our heart wings, like getting our heart so wide open, our arms are free, right? So this is one of my favorite things to do, to free my heart wings. So it's in this week's practice, but do it with me if you can. So I'm going to come onto all fours, hands under shoulders, knees under hips, roll my inner arms out, get my ribs up and in so I have neutral lower back. And then all I'm going to do is take and bend my left elbow, put it into the L shape of my right index finger and thumb, the loser sign, and I drop my head behind this left elbow. My right elbow's on the floor. And then all I do is take my left shoulder toward the floor and my left hip toward the floor. And I breathe, and I can move my head and neck, I can move my arm around, and I feel this stretch, ooh, right here, through the outer edge of my scapula. And that frees my heart wings, my arms, more than anything does. It feels so good. You guys need to try it if you haven't tried it. Maybe some of you already have done this with me. Let's see, Jennifer Faye, thank you. All right, so let's do the other side. So same thing on the other side. You're just on all fours. You lift your ribs. Oops, roll your inner arms out. Bend your elbow. Take it into the L shape of your left index finger and thumb, and take your head behind. Just several times. And I keep lifting my ribs up, because that's another way we can cheat, is just to let our ribs down, and then we won't get that nice stretch here through the side. And then I drop my right shoulder to the floor and my hips toward the floor. And the shoulder may not hit the floor, mine doesn't. And I breathe. Now I know people that can get this shoulder all the way to the floor because they're open there. I just happen not to be. So that's the way that I like to open my heart wings, is to roll around on the noodle ball and do that L-shaped elbow thing every day. And it really keeps my heart open and my heart wings, my arms and hands flying freely. So it's in this week's practice. Do it and see what happens, so that we mend our hearts. Hey, Angel, good to see you. Yay, you're with us. Beth Evans. Wow, not easy on the left side. I know what that means, right? So we can have differences in sides. Like one heart wing can be free and the other heart wing is stuck. Because like with Beth, because I just saw Beth not too long ago, her left shoulder, this is my left side, is coming forward. It's pulled up and in and forward, where her right one is more free. Well, what do we know about that? So when we're free on our right side, we're easily out there loving others, right? And when our left side is all bound up, we have more difficulty being free and loving ourselves. So I think of our wings, our heart wings, like the wings of a bird. And birds are here to fly, and we humans are here to love. And it's a challenge for a lot of us. In fact, it's the number one challenge. The majority of us die from heart disease, men and women. So it's not just, you know, your ancestors or in your body or in your family. This is on a worldwide cultural basis, especially here in the West. So why is that? Well, because we don't really know how to love very well, right? Does anybody out there have any love issues? Oh, Angel says, hi, love. Oh, I love you. I love all of you. But it's taken me a long process to learn how to love and to learn what love is and to open this part of my body without flipping out my ribs, to like really open my heart, because I don't come from A, ancestors who knew how to love, B, a family that knew how to love. And so I went on this quest to find it. And my definition of love is acceptance. And so I fully accept that my family has heart disease. I fully accept that I have a birth defect called pigeon chest that causes me to struggle to keep my heart open. I fully accept that I have had lots of trials and errors in this love arena. And now that I am here, after all of this, realizing that love is just acceptance, my heart is able to mend. If I get disturbed by something you're doing right side or I'm doing left side, I just go back in and I say, I love you. I love you to myself first. And then I love you to whoever I'm struggling with. And the majority of the time, that transmutes, changes, transforms the energy. And then I can usually sleep at night and I can usually settle into whatever I was pushing against or obsessing about. And we do those kind of things, those push against and obsessions around the people that we say that we love the most, right? And it's not love. And sometimes I give myself such a hard time and don't accept myself, and that's not love. So let's see, does anybody have any questions or anything about the heart or anything that they want to share? So to keep our hearts open, noodle ball, elbow L shape, taking the head under, hips to the side where the shoulders going to the floor, and accepting everything and everybody just as they are. That's love. So I want to add one more thing about this. Love is a spiritual energy. It's not a human energy. So we oftentimes put human rules around spiritual energy, trying to capture it, figure it out, make it make sense. And it can't, it doesn't, because the human stuff, which in our body represents human from the navel on down all the way into our feet. And from the navel on up, we start to become spiritual. And we're purely spiritual, meaning we leave the human realm at the space of our heart. And at the space of our heart, the energy starts to whirl and to twirl. And this whirling, twirling energy means that we don't know. We often think we know something and then it spins and then we see something else and then it spins and then we know something else. So when we're in spirit, we're spinning in this place of I don't know. And we humans don't like that. So we try to figure out love and we try to put rules around love. And thankfully, we're living in a time where that's all breaking apart. We're actually working to allow everybody to love whoever they love, right? Love, right? I mean, it's great to be in this time and watch is we're able to, if I was a lesbian, to marry a woman, or to let two gay guys get married or be together or whatever they want to do with their love. And I have lots of friends who are polyamorous, and it's completely okay now. And I know still there's some pockets where people are fighting against that, but love is just love. It just is. And we have to accept that. And whoever we love, we just love. And we have to accept that. If we try to put rules around it, we get all tightened and hardened, and it hurts us. So, it's so good to be with you today. And I love you so much. And I work to accept all of you and everything in my life all the time. And that is my work. That is my goal, is to spread the love and spread the message of accepting. And I'm human too. I will try to grab on and start to be like, oh no, that's wrong or something like that. And then I just remember, wait a minute, love is accepting everything. So I roll my inner arms out, squeeze my scapula together, hugely open my heart without flipping my ribs, and breathe and say, I love you. I love you, Michelle, to my left side. I love you, everybody else on the right side. And my life is so much better that way versus kyphotic, like my grandmother, who really thought, and kept all the way to when she died, thinking that she knew what was right and that she had to follow the rules and stay in her box. And we don't. We get to break out and love what we love in this time, and really embrace everyone else loving what they love, and just accepting. And it's hard sometimes to accept because this world is in turmoil right now. And the reason is because we're changing. We never change without chaos. And so we just have to keep our hearts open, loving what we love. And the more of us that love what we love, which is what, each other, we love that we can all take care of each other, that we're all equals, that we need to give aid and support sometimes, and then we also need to receive it sometimes. And when we keep our hearts open and accept everybody and everything, and we practice that, then the world can start to change in that way, instead of it where it is in some areas now where we say, no, I'm the one that's right and you're wrong, and you can't come into this country, you can't do this, you're only for this reason. None of that's true. Keep your hearts open. Let's change this world. And then we can fly this week with open heart wings. So do your practices. And I want to see you fly and share your stories of flight this week on the private Facebook page, Ageless Movement Practices. Thank you so much. I'll just check in one more time. Birdie Beer, so glad you joined us. All right, my heart is open to all of you. I love you. I will see you next week. Thank you for being with me. And let's fly away now with open heart wings.